In the coming section, the presentation will be conducted in English. Mr. Jin Yu, co-founder and CEO of Blackpanda, will deliver his presentation on cybersecurity incident response in the cloud. Let's welcome Jin.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for your time today. It's nice to share this moment with you. My name is Jin Yu. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Blackpanda. We are a digital forensics and incident response focused firm based here in Asia. We have offices in Hong Kong, Singapore, Tokyo, Manila, and Kuala Lumpur. And I'm here today to talk to you about our partnership with Hong Kong Telecom and how it pertains to cybersecurity incident response in the cloud. So the first thing that I would comment about is that Hong Kong Telecom and Blackpanda have partnered in the sense that Hong Kong Telecom's managed security services has Blackpanda incident response services attached. So in the off chance that a breach still occurs through the very formidable preventative and response aspects through the different platforms and security operations center of Hong Kong Telecom, it's backed up by level 3, level 4 Blackpanda incident responders based in Hong Kong and across the region for clients outside of Hong Kong even. So what makes us different? We focus on three aspects of our unique value proposition, so to speak. One, we are local. We're actually in country in the offices that I mentioned. Several of the firms may claim that they cover the region, but don't actually have the incident responders and digital forensics experts locally. And that matters when it comes down to any on-premise type of requirements, as well as customer success and the proper relationship in the middle of the crisis. We're also, as the second aspect we'd like to highlight, is that we are hyper-specialized, meaning that we do not do anything except digital forensics and incident response. So when a Blackpanda specialist shows up, it's not a pen tester that does incident response on the side, or a CISO that just runs the EDR platform of choice and provides the service level analysis based off of what the software picked up. The people that we have day in, day out only respond to data breaches and conduct both digital forensics and incident response consulting. We'd like to say that our focus is 1 inch wide and 10 miles deep, meaning that we continue to iterate on new and wider solutions pertaining to this specific field. For instance, we also specialize on insider threat investigation when it comes to data breach. We use a voice stress analyzer artificial intelligence technology that we've white labeled and we call Panda Voice to help us interview folk inside of a company when the client suspects that there potentially is an insider that had to do with the cyber breach. We also have specialization in ransomware negotiations, as well as facilitation payments, as well as a deep partnership with the United States Secret Service, which allows us to coordinate with international law enforcement and investigation early on when it comes to ransomware facilitation and making sure we're on the right side when it comes to international legal and international financial regulation requirements. And finally, we're building out even marine incident response capability to target the shipping industry. So you can see when we talk about being hyper-specialized, we care about being 1 inch wide and 10 miles deep. When you get a breach, you want to call a group like us that only lives and breathes data breach response, incident response. And then finally, the last aspect is that our services are typically attached with the most trusted cyber insurance carriers in the region. That would include AIG, several syndicates from Lloyd's of London, like Hiscox, Talbot Underwriting, etc. So I always like to share that incident response, when it comes to cybersecurity, can be most effectively and efficiently purchased through a comprehensive cyber insurance policy. And we always encourage our clients to consider this route because you gain a lot more other than just our incident response services, but certainly it is by far the most economical and logical choice to get our services on standby. When it comes down to, again, the partnership with Hong Kong Telecom, we like to discuss it from the perspective of being an integrated solution. If we consider the idea that a client would like to transfer their cyber risk or their cyber resiliency plan to a third party, like us in Hong Kong Telecom, we like to consider that Hong Kong Telecom's MSS, from an identification, protection, and detection standpoint, covers, let's say, 95% of the risk transfer. Okay. Again, Hong Kong Telecom brings tremendous capabilities by way of its security operations center, managed firewall services, threat management services, and even managed endpoint detection and response with eyes on glass 24/7 as a sentinel protecting you. I like to consider this as the castle wall surrounding and protecting you. Right now, what we provide at Blackpanda, in particular when we're partnered with cyber insurance, we cover the so-called the last mile, meaning that if the bad guys and the attackers break through the giant wall that Hong Kong Telecom has built around you, you still have a backup option through Blackpanda by way of cyber incident response. This is why we like to describe ourselves as cyber firefighters, and we're the folk that are outside the wall, so to speak, that come in and help put out the fire as fast as possible through a combination of both incident response initially and then digital forensics to figure out what actually happened so that we can block up that security gap and vulnerability so it doesn't happen again immediately and particularly immediately afterwards. And then also helping with advise upon remediation so that ideally the client can, if already insured, continue with its coverage, and if not, hopefully to gain cyber insurance coverage down the road to cover down that what we call residual risk, right? The damage that occurred in between the breach when it came through the wall and before the incident response team could have shown up to put out the fire, so to speak. And that's where the comprehensive cyber insurance policy comes into play, where the indemnified portion helps pay first for all your first-party losses, which again includes all of Blackpanda's fees, as well as legal costs and crisis public relations, as well as any third-party loss, business interruption, etc. So I'd like to highlight Blackpanda's closest partners as Pandematics Underwriting, which is a Lloyd's of London cover holder backed by Hiscox and licensed in Hong Kong. We're most closely partnered with Pandematics, but again, like I said, we're also sitting on other prestigious and large insurance carriers in the Asia region. By way of cybersecurity incident response in the cloud, there are three primary advantages when we discuss incident response in the cloud. First is remote access and response. Second is security functionality. And third will be architecture and visibility. And again, these are the advantages that Hong Kong Telecom's cloud-based solutions and Blackpanda are closely aligned to provide an advantage when it comes to the unfortunate circumstance that a data breach occurs. So the first is remote access and response. Faster response, especially in this COVID environment. We don't want to rely on folk like us at Blackpanda to have to travel physically to your site. By leveraging your infrastructure in a cloud instance, it provides immediate online access for us to respond remotely, which of course, as you can imagine, cuts down on the response time tremendously, just from a physical logistic standpoint. Also, by being already in a cloud instance, it enables remote collaboration in a much smoother fashion, particularly by allowing us to engage multiple specialized remote responders to back up and enhance the team, especially in the event that the data breach or the particular situation is more complex. And of course, it allows a group like us to leverage greater resources even outside of the Asia region if we needed, due to the remote collaboration standpoint. So to sum up, remote access and response is vastly easier and facilitated for the incident responders like us, your firefighters, if you have a cloud instance. The second advantage of cybersecurity incident response in the cloud is security functionality. There are three key features of this. Number one, universal logging. Number two, preservation of digital evidence. And number three, easy and efficient recovery from backups. The reason why universal logging is so important is because it's essentially is the evidence that our digital forensics and incident responders need to sift through in order to figure out what happened. I always like to talk about how incident response and digital forensics solve three primary questions. One, are you still under attack? Two, are you still at risk? Meaning, is the way that the attacker got into your system, is that still an open avenue of approach that they can exploit potentially immediately, not or after your recovery? Because clearly we want to plug up that security gap and vulnerability so they can't attack you in the exact same way. And number three is, was there any sensitive data exfiltrated? And that's quite important. So all of those aspects requires the logs for the digital forensics and incident response specialists to determine. So by having a cloud instance, cloud-related logging already provides a lot of this information in the entire cloud environment and provides visibility over data access and configuration changes made by the threat actors or even internal employees that either have made mistakes or in a more nefarious scenario are part of the attack group and were an insider threat. All of that can be seen if there's appropriate logs maintained. As a tip, we generally recommend enabling full logging with LogSafe for at least 30 to 90 days. Preservation of digital evidence is done in a more seamless way when we talk about cloud instances. Forensic imaging is a snapshot of the environment at a given moment, and it's vital to forensic investigation. And the cloud environments allow us to easily snapshot and preserve virtual machines for analysis. So in general, because the preservation of digital evidence is superior or already set up for you in a cloud instance, it allows the victim in a situation of a data breach to begin remediation process much more quickly. And the last bit is that by having a cloud instance, it's usually already set up for regular and automated backups. And this is critical when talking about negating business interruption loss due to data breaches and attacks. Particularly if the client has been wise enough to invest in an encrypted cloud backup system like Acronis, that can serve as a strong defense against ransomware extortion. Now, of course, if in this situation where an attacker's come and encrypted the entire network's systems, if there is a very safe encrypted cloud backup to immediately replace the encrypted data, well, that removes quite a bit of leverage from the attackers by way of the extortion negotiation. Now, of course, there's still the aspect if they have exfiltrated the data and made copies, threatening to release it into the wild, so to speak. But as you can obviously see, it's a much different negotiation stance if you're at least able to recover all of your data and not be extorted over that. And the last point there is the cloud is a fully virtual environment, and so that allows for full recovery in minutes rather than in a physical infrastructure situation. So those are the key aspects of the benefits of cybersecurity incident response in the cloud when it comes to security functionality. The third advantage is architecture and visibility. So with a clear cloud architecture, it allows visibility for the investigators to instantly view all the assets and configurations, which facilitates a smoother investigation process. So it's just already arranged in a organized fashion, which prevents wasting time of collating everything in the proper way that our incident responders and digital forensics folk need to look at the evidence. Also, cloud instances typically are arranged in segregated networks, which, if you can imagine, if a fire was breaking out throughout the house, if you could throw up fire prevention doors and walls to kind of contain the fire in certain areas of the house, that's what segregated networks essentially allow investigators to block, distract, or isolate an attack while it's ongoing. Right? This comes down to the incident response skill set of dealing with the ongoing attack. And also, cloud instances make network segregation much faster and easier just by the way that they're naturally set up. So, in a way, by having a cloud instance, the architecture and the layout of the cloud instance provides superior visibility and is already structured in such a way that facilitates more efficient and effective incident response. So, thank you for your time today. If interested in our incident response services, please visit the Hong Kong Telecom Incident Response booth for more information. We do offer zero-cost retainers, which means zero money down, with a guarantee of a 4-hour response via email or phone call. to set up our response services. Of course, a zero-cost retainer would be at a lower priority than a prepaid retainer, but we do offer it for the more cost-conscious client when it comes to instant response. But highly encouraged, of course. We believe in our philosophy of having the importance of having a cyber firefighter on standby. As you can imagine, in a physical scenario, you wouldn't operate without a fire station and firefighters on standby as well for you, for your building, right? So likewise, this is the same thing in the cyber and digital world. We also offer special discounts for Hong Kong Telecom MSS customers, so please do swing by and find out more about that. Thank you for your time listening, and this has been our discussion today on cybersecurity incident response in the cloud. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for the fruitful sharing, Jean. 跟住落嚟嚟到 Q&A 嘅時間，歡迎大家可以去到版面嘅 chat box 發問，又或者去到 HKT 嘅 booth 都會有代表為大家解答。多謝各位。
At Dell Technologies, we started by making the cloud easier to manage. But we didn't stop there. We made a cloud flexible enough to adapt to any size business, no matter what it does or how it changes. And we kept going, so you only pay for what you use. Because at Dell Technologies, we stop at nothing.
Welcome to the future. You're gonna wanna get ready. You're gonna wanna get ready. You're gonna wanna get
話咁快 HKT Cloud Summit 2020 Ahead in the Cloud 已經嚟到尾聲啦，再一次多謝大家抽空出席。如果你對於今日嘅 Solutions 有任何嘅疑問或者興趣，亦都歡迎透過 Live Chat 同 HKT 嘅代表聯絡。提各位，呢一個 platform 將會開放至到今晚嘅6點鐘，歡迎大家繼續去到唔同嘅攤位參觀，又或者遞交活動問卷，亦都可以去到 Leaderboard Game 爭取最高嘅分數，贏取豐富嘅獎品。如果你錯過咗今日嘅任何環節，亦都可以喺嚟緊嘅1個月之內登入呢個網站，隨時重溫 HKT Cloud Summit 嘅任何內容。再一次代表 HKT 多謝大家嘅支持，亦都希望喺將來嘅活動再同大家見面。拜拜。